Hi, this is Silent Partner. Welcome back to the channel. You are watching the Bible A Synopsis with me. I am Teach, and each week we look at one book of the Bible and we discuss what it's about. Anybody who's not really interested in reading the Bible is sort of thinking, I don't want to read the whole thing. I don't want to read it at all. I just want to know what it's about. You're in the right place. And also, if you have read the Bible and it's just confusing at times or a bit complicated, hopefully this brings clarity and light. I said last week, if you do know anyone who will be encouraged by this material, anyone that you know will benefit, or anyone you know that it might just be helpful, just pass it along. Please pass it along and forward it to friends, colleagues, work colleagues, family members, and let's continue to share the gospel together and encourage each other to read the word of God. Okay, so today, what are we looking at today? Today we're looking at the book of First Chronicles, and we did First and Second Kings, and now we're doing First Chronicles and then Second Chronicles. So you got First and Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, First and Second Chronicles. So we're on First Chronicles. So grab your pens and your notepads, and we are going to, I'm going to read through my notes, and as I'm reading through my notes, you should be taking your own notes and we should be learning together. Okay, so let's dive straight in. So the book of First Chronicles is actually a historical account of Israel's entire history, focusing primarily on the reign of King David. It begins with an extensive, when I say extensive, I mean extensive genealogy that traces the lineage of Israel from the Babylonian exile, which is, if you've done, when I explained last week, Judah was taken into exile in Babylon. And this goes from the Babylonian exile all the way back to the first man. And yes, I do mean Adam. Okay, so after the extensive genealogy, this is followed by an account of King Saul's reign and his eventual downfall. We then see David ascend to the throne, where he unifies all of Israel, and we see the establishment of Jerusalem as a nation. We see the establishment of Jerusalem as the nation's political capital. This is then followed by a detailed account of David's military campaign, and again, it is a detailed account of David's military campaigns. Right, a major part of First Chronicles is David's heartfelt desire to build a grand temple for God and his preparations for that temple. He wants to get this temple constructed, which unfortunately he doesn't get to build, but which is, however, ultimately carried out by his son Solomon. Okay, the book details David's devotion to God, which is particularly highlighted in the grand event where he brings the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. Also, the establishment of the worship practices enforced during David's reign, and the roles of the priests and the Levites. So, lastly, we see an overview of David's preparations for the temple, and David telling his son Solomon to complete the temple and finish the work. The book concludes with David's farewell address to the leaders of Israel and a charge to his son Solomon on how to lead the nation, both politically and spiritually. And that is First Chronicles. Thank you.